In the Mar-a-Lago investigation, what do you make of this Trump legal argument that we just heard about?
You know, thank you, Wolf. Thank you, Wolf. It's always a pleasure being here on CNN. But you know, as I was talking to Don Lemon just a few weeks ago, I don't understand why every time I'm here is to discuss Trump. Listen, I am from the Caribbean. I'm from Grenada. And there is enough political back and forth for me to study Trump. Nah, it's not on my radar. It's just not something that I think about. In fact, the information that I received was that I was here to talk about my bingo. Yeah, my bingo that's happening on the 23rd of December. $6,000, Wolf. We are giving away $6,000. Jackpot is $4,000. Tickets is only $20. Only $20, and you can get your tickets online at ridebuy.com. Yeah, that's ridebuy.com. Anybody everywhere in the world could play this. Just go on to ridebuy.com. Now, one ticket is $20 and 5 tickets is $80. Now, that's much more interesting to me than talking about Trump. In fact, I cannot participate further in this conversation. I just wasn't really prepared.
George, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, I had to go and talk about my bingo, man. Come on. Welcome to Ride Along Live, guys. It is Thursday. Damn, it's Thursday already. Time flies. How you guys doing? Welcome to the ride. Welcome to Thursday on the Ride. Guys, today we are talking all about the budget. Yeah, budget debate. We had the opposition leader make his presentation today, and a few other members of both sides presented today. We'll keep you guys up to date on everything. A lot has been said. There have been so much talk in this budget here today, guys, and we're asking you, because you were the one that you watched it, you participated. I see you guys chatting. I see you guys, giving your opinion on it. This is the program for you. So blessings to you. Jennifer Lewis, how you doing? Big up yourself, big up yourself. I know that it's still going on. Sonia Mickey, how you doing? I know that the budget is still going on. So there are people over here and over there. They're seeing two live. They don't know if they should be watching the budget still, or if they should be watching Ride Along still. We're giving you up-to-date information. And in studio, well, on the line with me, we have Livingston Nelson, and we're going to bring it all into perspective for you. All right? Yes, guys. So as you're coming, go ahead and share the program. Share it up right now. Yeah, share it. Let me do the same thing over here as well. Let me share it a few times. Thank you. Yes. Let me share. Hey, Hillary, how you doing? Big up yourself. Thank you so much. Yes, okay. I know you guys had a lot to see. Shell, big up yourself so much. Guys, share the program now. Share it up. Hey, Val, how you doing? Kweku. Yeah, that's me. Share it, Val. Share it. Hillary, share it. Michelle, share it. Guys, I know the debate is still going on. I know a lot of people is still locked on over there. But we also want you guys to chime in right here. Let's start this conversation. Oh, Sonia McKee, your uncle was missing and he was swung alive. Oh, we're happy to hear that. We're definitely happy to hear that. Jackie Chaitan, thank you, guys. So, guys, keep sharing. Keep sharing. Val, all right, so this is what I'm going to do, guys, at the beginning, at the top. I want to put a number up because this is your conversation. This is your conversation. You guys got a chance to see the budget as was outlined by the Prime Minister and Minister of Finance. Today, we had the opposition leader and a few other members of the parliament there that was, giving their insight on it. Very interesting day, guys. Very interesting day. Jonathan, big up yourself. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good night, good night, good night. So everybody share, right? I take it that everybody share. I take it that everybody share. Enough respect, Nikisha, Dollar, big up yourself. Wendy, Charles, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, people looking at the budget still. Yeah, I know they are. I know they are. Let me see, how far is it? How far is it? How far along is it? I heard they had 2 more speakers. I heard they had 2 more speakers remaining. Let me see if I could pull it up so I could kind of follow it here as well. Let me pull it up so I could follow it here as well, because I believe they're going to come to a close shortly, so that we could get the full participation of the ride along group. Okay, so we have
no, as you went from previous.
Okay. Ron Redhead is speaking right now. Yes. Hold on, guys. Let me pull it up because I want to follow it here. I want to follow it as well. All right. So this is what's happening right now. This is what's happening as we speak right now. Ron Redhead, the Honorable Minister of Culture, Sports and Youth, Ron Redhead, is at the podium right now. We did hear that there will be 2 more speakers. So quite possibly after Ron is finished, there will be 1 more presentation from the opposition side, and then I believe that is going to come to a close. But we're going to keep following it here right now, and I am happy to be joined right now live on air with me, my brother Livingston. No, okay, he's finishing up a phone call. Livingston, you there?
I'm on.
Right.
Ready.
There you go. How you doing, my brother?
Yes, man. Pretty good. Good night to all the listeners.
Absolutely.
Of Ride Along. It was not too long ago. I was here. We talking as usual. Politics.
Yeah, man, yeah.
I don't know. Junior is trying to make me into a sort of political, I don't know, think tank or analyst.
No,
I mean, Junior, I do other things. I can talk about drums. I can talk about.
I know you
farming.
I like to talk with people who have just have that understanding and could articulate how they feel. And you are a historian. I view you as a historian. You have this stuff. You understand. You pay attention to this stuff, and you're on the ground. So you're the best person to speak to on these topics, and I appreciate you. You always take my call, so I appreciate you. Let's go back a little bit, Livingston, because as the budget finished, we have Ron speaking right now. I believe there's 1 more speaker, and then the crowd will build because everybody watching it over there.
Right.
We saw the presentation by the Prime Minister, right? The lengthy presentation, as they call it, by the Prime Minister. What's your thoughts? What's your takeaway?
Well, I thought it was lengthy, but I thought it was necessary. I have not heard a budget before where from the word go, you seem to be able to understand the flow, the trend. I never heard a budget like that before where you can follow the money. You didn't have to be a statistician or a mathematician to understand that it was simplified. Apart from the length, like I've heard budgets before that went on to maybe 2 hours thereabout, and or in between you want to listen to it, but along the way sometimes you got lost. But with this one, you followed through. So I thought it was necessary. I heard secondary school children actually talking about the budget.
Wow.
It is rare because it was at their level. It was at their level. It reached a point where they were able to hear, they were able to understand, they were able to follow. And from just on that was a first of its kind in my island. But Junior, the budget also did something. The budget was able to it was like a consistent storyline.
Mhm.
The budget put on the table the ideology, the thinking of the government in a very concise and clear manner.
Right.
Everyone understand. I heard a budget that speaks of nationhood, a budget that appeal to me, that appeal to every sector of the economy. Um, when I talk about nationhood, it says, well, we can do that. I can do that. I can be part of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For a long time, boy, I heard a budget that did not speak about investors, that did
Mhm.
not talk about building hotels and 300 Grenadians will get work and permanent job here. But he talk about vision, a future
Yeah.
that we all can embrace. So to me, that was a budget that was way out of the box. That was so much better than the probably the sub budget that we had before, in the
Right.
immediate past.
You know, you
So
know,
I really felt good about listening to this one.
we had a part one discussion of the budget, right?
Okay.
With a panel.
Mm.
And one of the things that everyone was saying was that they were surprised how so many people in Grenada is actually paying attention to something that is not a sexy topic, because a lot of people for a lot of time they didn't view the budget as a sexy topic, a topic that they really want to be so entertained. But people was watching the budget and just like they are, it's like a big topic.
It's like a soap opera. But
So,
because before the budget you used to say, oh, we collect X amount of 300 and say $3.5 million and 2.5 million would go to so and 1.1 million, and that would create jobs and that would be into the economy X amount of $1,000, etc., etc. So it was basically a lot of figures and statistics that came into the bill, into the budget prior. But now we hear a budget that speaks about vision, like while there was some monies, but the focus was not on talking about the money. So people who started to listen could have listened.
Right.
And people thought, like, let me hear what he's saying. And they realize they plan to spend 10 minutes and they day half an hour and the day for 3 hours. And they just get glued because they were able to follow the story right through.
Could that also speak to the educational standard? Either the educational standard had risen to a point where people have this higher comprehension level for this type of content.
No, Jeff.
That's not what it is.
No. I thought when you started to ask, you were asking if it had to do with the educational quality of the presenter.
Okay.
But I think the presenter, by his very nature, if you follow the presenter and PM Dickin, he from the very onset in his campaign he had that gift of simplifying a lot of things and making it making the common people making it into understandable by them. So I think he had that gift, but also I believe what is important is that this budget was not about brambling, about mamagaing. That budget was about putting out an ideology of governance or on governance. So we want to transform, it was the nation, and in transforming the nation, that is what it would entail. So the money would be able to transform. So what came out was not in terms of providing job for the people, but in terms of providing a background for a takeoff.
Right.
Yeah. Providing a background for takeoff. I think, and that is what was different. So you had a governing ideology that guided the budget. So people understood that, and even when the two figures were thrown in, they understood that there is a philosophy of governance that is different.
Right.
So
when it is said and done, and everyone watched the entire budget, what are some of the major takeaways? What are some of the things that people on the ground in Grenada, in your village, in your area, are taking out from it and saying, okay, well, I like this, I like that? What are they talking about?
For me, it was really people-centered. So that was the telling message. That's the main thing for me, was people-centered. And it was people-centered, and I don't want to compare it to a negative, but I can't help but do that. I believe in the last dispensation, it seemed like there was a removal of ourselves from people, from work, from people's job and the quality, etc. So, like example, on the hinge of the budget, you heard about the paying of the pension,
Right.
the paying back of teachers. Was it right or wrong is immaterial. Junior, if you are in a relationship and you are wrong, at some time you still may be the one or have to be the one to go forward and say, well, listen, like no, even if you are right, you might still have to go and say, well, let me make that up. Let us work towards a more common understanding. So it is not about that. It's about establishing the worth of people, recognizing the quality. So apart from the pension, apart from the trying to lift up the educational standard in trying to go to TAMCC and NULO and plunging, there was a recognition in the budget about the worth of the rural community and actually putting resources there in order for it to take off. There is a recognition in terms of the fact that we have in a drain, a pilferage of our nurses heading out and going to greener pastures, putting some measures in order to address that. Whether it is adequate or not, that is not the point. The point is that we have taken there, some steps have been taken to address those issues. There is a major switch, and this something has been a cry, John Public, for the last maybe 18, 20 years, that agriculture need to play a more pivotal role. And now you're hearing agriculture come back, and agriculture which speaks to our nationhood, our sense of independence, our ties to the land. So you hear those kind of things that people have been crying out for many, many years. And then now you're hearing it being echoed or reflected in the budget. So I don't know if it might be one single thing for a particular person because of the orientation, but I think throughout what I'm picking up from the ground as different persons would take away different things. For one person, it could have been the fact that we want to address the rebuilding of the Carlton home, or the rebuilding of the library, again addressing the library or continuing the work. And next thing that again I find really that was glaring is that a lot I'm giving the past administration a lot of the work continued, but with some level of enhancement from some of the things that was started by the previous administration. So I think it is a budget that a lot of people are able to seriously associate with in many different ways.
Yeah, and we're seeing, and I'm watching the comments, and I was following the presentation earlier, and people are actually having their own internal debates. And I tell you this, I have never seen so many viewers pay attention like they're paying attention right now.
Right.
I firmly believe that it's a testament to people's interests. And I mean, people are locked on their phones. I saw a video, someone showed me someone in Grenville, and they walk in and something almost bongs them because they walk in.
But no, people interest has piqued, but you didn't ask me about the interest or the awareness or the consciousness. You asked me about the educational level.
Right. Somebody else said that.
If you wanted to,
hold on. Hear what this person said. This person said, if I could find it. Okay. This person said, her name is Petra. She said, educational standard of our people. That's why people are still logged on. The presenter is not hard to understand, and that's why people understand it. How about a combination of both? Could it be?
Well, I wouldn't discount that.
Right.
The education, but basically saying that the educational level has increase. I don't know what would give rise to that, but right. You see, because I want to make a distinction, because education is usually associated with some kind of academic learning,
Right.
generally. But if you say the level of awareness or consciousness
Right.
or interest, I would say immediately yes. So that's why I was very careful in responding to education, because
Right.
education, yeah. So
interest, better word, interest.
Yeah.
People interest.
Right.
Right. And someone sent me a video today, and as I said, this person was walking down in Grenville, and they watching. I don't know if he was right along or whoever they was watching, and they was watching something. I must see them because they're so keen and paying attention to what was saying. They forget everything else that was happening. People are very, very much interested. So here's the reason why, guys, even now this is going on. So we have a parallel broadcast. The budget is happening right now. We have Honorable Ron Redhead, who is speaking on the video that you see right there. So that's happening while we are live. So a lot of people are actually watching the presentation, probably didn't even get notification that we are live on the same platform that watching it on. So that's happening right there right now, and people are tuned in and people are interested. Now, what I wanted to find out about the takeaway. Was there anything in particular that you was looking for that you didn't hear?
In a way, I would say yes. But I understand why it might be a little bit difficult. I've heard, and I really applauded the government in terms of some of the stoppage they want to put in. Example, like the tax on sugar and sugary item. But I wonder about a more direct intervention in terms of the local products, local manufactured goods that we can do. I wanted a more direct intervention. How that was going to be done, I can't say upfront. But apart from the example like you have CES, which is grant, etc., to help with people in cottage industry and small businesses, etc. Granted, that is great. But I would have liked, if I had, and I'm not faulting the government for that, is everybody have their own biasness and I have mine. I probably would have liked to see, let me say, a direct move to market Grenadian product, or an export-led kind of development. So a direct, so see, we have our chocolate. The government would have a direct intervention into the marketing of Grenadian chocolate, into the international world. Some of the other products that is manufactured here. So I don't know if that can be done because of all the various treaties, etc. But
when they talk about agro-processing, and agro-processing is a big deal. In fact, they're pumping how much millions of dollars into agriculture. And my hope, and as you rightfully said, my hope is that trickles down into the agro-processing, where a micro enterprise, a micro business, someone making tambour and ball now could then not just think about making tambour and ball for River Road, but making tambour and ball and packaging it in a way that you could sell in Barbados and Trinidad.
Well, that is the kind of export-led development I am thinking. That is the trust I am hoping. So it's about preventing certain things from coming, but how do you do an export-led development in in encouraging some of the cottage industry to grow and get them to the market that is is probably more lucrative. So but be that as it may, remember that is just the first year. So so there are a lot of time, there are a lot of time still in order to go where we want to go.
The next thing I know that you're very big, and you're a culture man. You are culture man. Tivoli drummers. I mean, one of the biggest, I think one of the best cultural expression, and I've seen you guys perform. I love it, right? Now they're pumping a tremendous amount of money into the creative industry, creative art, your field, my field, movie making, filmmaking, music, and all that other stuff. How do you think that it would impact the economy? Because it's not something, by making that investment, it's probably not going to instantaneously change change the game.
No.
We look at probably over a period of time.
Mhm.
How do you think that it would impact that type of funding and assistance that would impact the creative industry?
Well,
You
any
think
modern government at this time must follow in that trend, because listen, the creative industry, as you would know, is the fastest growing industry in the world. It is the one that is totally borderless. There, you don't need to even know the language of. Let us just use an example of a song, a big song. It goes across the border. It goes to, I mean, in Japan, that or in a Spanish speaking country, doesn't matter. So you can do that. So the creative industry has the potential for a small island state like us to seriously take off without much capital output. You have to have knowledge, your talent, your creativity, and this can be packaged to the digital means, and this can be then exported across the world. And one of the good things about that is the longevity in terms of the level of your payment in a lot of the creative products that is created. So you can have patent and copyright, etc., to a lot of the things if you can do it right, and this would go on for time immemorable. So that is one area. But if we can inject in some like the coding and the fashion and even what you may call merchandising. Example, I don't want to spill the beans. So Junior, I'm only talking to you so you alone would hear, and please,
me alone.
persons eavesdrop. That was not for you to hear. But imagine if Grenada decide to take and develop the merchandising for the chutney, to make small chutney, to make mass, small things, and we can ship that, we can sell that, to make miniature jab and jab cup and jab this and jab that, as we claim this thing as our own, the Apache and all those things. And then that is part of our creative industry that we can market. So when people come here, first, and as I say, the strength of the creative industry, and that is where probably I may differ from some other persons, not everybody, but I think hopefully a small number of persons. The cultural product of Grenada is for Grenadians,
Right.
which we share with the rest of the world. So we must grow it here first. So the jab must be embraced by Grenadians. We share with the rest of the world. So it is important now to then start merchandising that. We have a whole group of persons that see themselves as stakeholders that are ready as marketeers. So when a Grenadian, that is why, and that is how it happened, because jab, we're using jab as one example, have been embraced by a lot of Grenadians. We have Jab House, we had the greenhouse, where it became the center of organizing Jab one time in New York. I don't know for now, but I know when I play, I tune the drum, etc. We have chutney. We exported those things. If we could package and deliberately sit down and merchandise those products,
Right.
and sell some product, we can have an industry that can actually profit us in the long run. So I'm using that. The coding that was discussed by the administration. But you have so much other areas, because the creative industry is
Filmmaking.
Filmmaking. Yeah. And somebody might say filmmaking is difficult in Grenada. But there is this other short version that we can always do. But again, we can still
Listen, I just came from Ghana, and the African Afrobeat and film, like Ghana and Nigeria. That is the hub now. I think if this could be cultivated, even let me tell you a quick story. While I was in Ghana, I got an invite from the president of Ghana, right? Through the diaspora, the director of diaspora. So we got an invite to tour to basically, give us a whole tour of the house of the president of Ghana. Yeah. Went in there. I mean, security was like you could imagine,
Yeah.
Driving in there, it's like you're going into a war zone because there are guys with long guns all over the place, and you had to check this, check this, check that, check that, check that. So he finally got into the house of the president. We're sitting there, we're speaking to the folks in the lady that's in charge of diaspora, and she, giving us a nice welcome and introduction. And I said, listen, what's the relationship with Ghana and Grenada? And I said, I would like to bridge that gap. Tutus, I made a phone call to the prime minister. I tell you, right, I made a phone call to the prime minister. He answered the phone, and I was able to connect the prime minister to the president of Ghana. And they spoke to the lady in the diaspora, and they spoke, right? And I think I felt so accomplished because I think even that little phone call could now bridge the gap between the cultures that Africa and the creative industry and the music and the Afrobeat to Ghana. That would be such a lovely thing. And I think for the whole trip, I'm like, that's the best thing I've done since I got to Ghana. It was simply the best.
You are an emissary. You see, you act as an emissary.
Yeah, it was, and they agreed. They agreed that he invited the prime minister to come to Ghana.
Right.
Yeah. So I am looking forward to.
But I really wish but Junior, qualify your statement, because I don't think I am the only one in the dark. When you say the prime minister, you talk about this present one or the past?
No, the present prime minister, Honorable Dickon Mitchell. Yeah, I was just there last week, so I called him. He answered, and I connected them. And
that is great, because I think Mia Motley is pursuing that kind of relationship and that trip back to, via Barbados and for matter of fact, there are a few persons, because of my drum connection and things like that. I have been in dialogue with a few persons throughout the region, and I know there was a move by their body set up in CARICOM to, from the cultural aspect, to actually see if we could have a connection with Africa. And there was an attempt to see if we could get a flight leaving from Barbados to go to Africa, because they say it is shorter in that route. But it would be great if we can pursue that trend. I personally would like to be part of that anytime it can happen.
Yeah, listen, let me tell you something. I think if you're looking to embrace culture and promote the creative arts, you can't forget Africa. Because as it stands right now, Nelson, the Afrobeat music is the mainstream music right now.
Yes,
even
it is.
In the US. It's the
It
biggest thing. And I was even happy that we was able to connect as well. There, we have a concert. I want to invite you to Ghana, by the way. I'm doing a concert there, March, for the Ghana independence, and we're doing it at Cape Coast. And we were able to sit and meet with some artists there in Ghana, some top artists, and we said, okay, let's make the connection. Mr. Killer, I'm negotiating now to have Mr. Killer come to the concert as well. That's again is bridging the cultural gap, where we have our history, our connection back to the motherland and our ancestors. And I think, Mr. Nelson, I'll talk to you more about it off camera, but it's something that I would like to expose a lot of my brothers and sisters to.
Well, let me just say, Junior, as you said that they have already sent information to my lawyer, that I take that as a contract, and any attempt to break it, break it.
March 6th. March 6th. We're gonna be in Ghana with this big concert, the Freedom Concert, in the Cape Coast area. That's where we're working to have it, and we are taking a few of our followers there as well. And that history need to be told, because your jump skills and all of that stuff, it need to be shown. It need to be over there. So we'll talk more about it. But I think we can make it happen. I think we can make it happen. We got some connections. We can make it happen. Guys, we open up the phone lines if you want to call in. We understand that the viewership is low because there is a parallel broadcast happening with the budget. So there are a lot of people that watching the budget on the same platform and that may not have gotten notification to it. We have on screen right now, Brother Ron Redhead is speaking as we do this parallel broadcast, and I think there'll be one more speaker, and then
Andy Williams.
right, I believe so, and then it will conclude for the night. Right. All right. Let's shift gears a little bit, brother. Now today, first presenter we saw was the former Prime Minister. Right.
Yeah.
First of all, let me play back a clip. Because there are multiple clips that I produced here and I put together. Let's play back this first clip. That's a clip now from the former Prime Minister, now opposition leader. Check this out.
So it appears, Mr. Speaker, the Messiah is now here. And the Messiah will now do all that's supposed to be done for Grenada, Carriacou, and Peter Martinique, with all governments, including his own NDC government that he has adopted. So I make this point for what it's worth, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this budget was anchored under the theme Vision 2035, people-centered transformation, laying the foundation for resilience, empowerment, and growth. The notion, Mr. Speaker, that the central idea suggests there has been no foundation that supports resilience, empowerment, and growth in Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique, and that this budget intends to create the same. In my view, Mr. Speaker, this statement is absolutely flawed. It might suit the ego of the Minister of Finance, but it's certainly flawed.
Sorry, you didn't hear me. Yeah,
No, I
I was
didn't
saying. What's your take on the Prime Minister's the opposition leader's presentation today?
You're talking about that particular clip or his?
That particular clip from others, but basically his in general, his
Yeah.
presentation.
Well, I think the Prime Minister the leader of the opposition, Dr. Kate Mitchell, is trying to establish that because 2035, that vision was something that was conceptualized during probably his tenure by the collective bargaining bodies. He's claiming that it is flawed, but he's also claiming that this idea of resilience and growth was something that his administration was very much involved in the Grenadian politics, trying to impact on the Grenadian politics. But I think based on NDC's outlook, that what they were doing was not based on developing resilience and growth for 2035. So as I said, the whole reorientation is completely different in the NDC camp. So I don't see, well, again, that is his take, but I don't see why he's claiming that it is flawed. I don't see why he sees it as being flawed. Because, well, in my humble opinion, Junior, we have had since 2000, we have had Ivan, right? And Ivan, we have not done anything to develop the agricultural capacity of our people. We have had this present pandemic, and instead of recognizing it as a serious threat that could derail the progress of the nation, we still have not invested or put any kind of resources into the agricultural department. So how can you develop a nation in this present time when you are not prepared to create some level of independence or food security, even if it's 75% or 80% for your people? I mean, if something were to happen now, seriously, are we a little better off coming out of the pandemic, that we have, so that we are going to be able to supply our supply food for the next 3 weeks or 1
Right.
month if you don't have a ship coming in? What have we done since then to address those things? Then we had the war in Ukraine. The war that again can lead to increased prices, and then you crypto around, you tiptoe around agriculture. You have not really tried to get additional land under serious production, or even help in terms of increasing the capacity of our farmers. So if there is a claim that you're not doing anything for resilience, I think it is a fair argument to say that the NDC can make, that you have not done anything, and I'm just using one sector of the economy.
Some people said that they felt as if the speech was and is a one for the road speech, a legacy speech. The prime minister basically going back since 19 how long, and basically giving a legacy, quite possibly that he did not, or painting that legacy that he did not get to do so much so during the election, during the season. Do you see, or did you see his speech as somewhat paving a legacy or trying to solidify that legacy?
A legacy is this: you give a speech solidifying your legacy if you coming to the end, or if you think you reach your end. But I think looking back, what I have seen is the leader of the opposition is trying to establish his relevance. He want to remind the nation of his relevance, even to the present political dispensation. That he has been there, he has the experience, and he's still relevant. And I will tell you why I'm saying that rather than just legacy. So he started off by basically a history lesson of the role he played, how important he was to the political process, and he linked his experiences, all the experiences, and some of his accomplishments. So there's one. And in the process, he also very consistently tried to show that, listen, these rookies, these unknowns, these people, and well, at one time, I think children. At one time, the member for Carrico tried to put a stop to him, and he said, "Yeah, they didn't call name, etc." When he said, "Who are you calling children? These children, I am the grandpa, I am the master." So he want to establish to the nation his relevance. But you have to also bear in mind that he was not speaking to everybody. He was speaking to people that are on the fringe and his converts. So his relevance. And then he reached to the point again where then he went into the budget to show and to his liking. He tried to show, well, listen, these are the numbers. And I've already said to you that these people are children, they are rookies. I am the grandfather. I established that. And look how the blunders they have been making, they have made in this budget presentation. But then, Junior, what is also significant, coming to the end of his speech, he then looked at where he came from, his constituency, his love, and he tried to derail the fact that the person that came up against him, you know what the hell he's doing in this last election. So he's dismissive of the person as somebody that doesn't want the while in any serious consideration. In my mind, going through all that, I am thinking that the leader of the opposition thinking about running that next time.
Oh, really?
And yeah, I am thinking that, but I'm also seeing that when you talk about the fact that well, you know, if you listen, you go learn, and if you don't learn, you go pay for the consequences. He is putting in people's mind that he's trying to put in people's mind that the NDC administration has a history of being self-destructive. When he said, remember, you know, we were telling you before about the implementation of certain policies, and then you fell 16% short and ask the previous administration, you fell 16% short because your head was too hard. No, I am telling you, if you listen, you will learn. But again, you would not learn because that is your nature, blah, blah, blah. So in a sense, it's trying to create in people's mind, this is just rhetoric, this is fanfare, don't worry, give them certain time. I would be there again to take on the reins of power. I could be wrong, but that is what I see from following him from the beginning through his presentation. And
Right.
then when he ended by saying, but you can't come to my constituency and offering them this and that. What they have, what they got from me, what they continue to get from me is the love that I have, and you don't have that.
I see. So
I-
it's not a legacy because he's not looking to.
I don't find
Leave.
he's really ready to give up as yet. I think he wants to show maybe for a final run. I don't know. I mean, I'm
Wow.
just
Another one for the road.
another
Have a
one.
clip. I have a clip that where he dismissed the numbers, and he basically said that the numbers that was presented in the speech was a different set of numbers that was actually in the budget. Take a quick listen.
I urge the administration to rethink several areas of concern in the budget. For those who are socially, economically vulnerable, including the working poor, single mothers, our youth, and our elderly, please think again about them. Mr. Speaker, apart from a new record of lengthiness, in the end, the budget statement of 2023 will be remembered for a few distinguishing features. The first is that it uses the wrong point of reference, budgeted where actual outturn should be used. It unfortunately makes erroneous and baseless comparisons. The budget statement begins this way, and the baseless comparisons are made throughout. Mr. Speaker, if this were a literature paper, I would give it a passing grade. But this is a budget statement meant to outline and announce serious policies on revenue and expenditure of the people's resources. It falls far short of a passing grade.
Yeah. So you saying, Nelson, you saying based on what you've seen, and it's interesting because someone they even said it. They said, Junior, you didn't realize Kit is not going nowhere. You saying that this is not a one for the road legacy. This is gearing up for staying here and probably solidifying and preparing for next election.
Yeah, he's based. So, I mean, okay, if you really want to hang up your towel this time, you talked about your party's record. I'm talking about the end of his speech.
Right.
But you don't dismiss the other candidate as being insignificant and make the comparison. It means that you're still saying that you are the relevant person.
Right.
Right. So that is how I look at it. If he was saying, okay, well, listen, my party has done this, has done that, and so coming to the end, anytime I can see how you could vote NDC, you have to vote for NNP because we have been there, we have done that, etc., etc. But that is not what he's saying. He's saying he is the one. He is the one that deserves the love of his constituents. And the other person that came up against him is undeserving of that. He talked about the pastor. But I want to make a clip and a depart from my regular rhetoric and acknowledge something that the clip you just played there, Junior. As much as we have to be open-minded, and I believe those comments, the clip you just made, I believe it should be checked out. The information, and there might be some reason for correction.
Yes.
So I think we have to be sound of mind,
Yes.
and cannot just always knock our shoulder and always be right. So if the leader of the opposition made those observations, we cannot just dismiss it under the
and
so I think
funny enough, I was speaking to my colleague journalist earlier today, and he was saying the same thing. We need to get the documents because I don't have a copy of the documents to cross-check. Right?
Yeah.
We can't just say dismiss it. Oh,
Yeah.
Kit Mitchell
No,
said that.
no,
Let's
we
just dismiss
can't.
it.
We can't. So when I heard that, I thought, and again, nothing is wrong. These are new guys on the block. They are going to make some mistake, and if
Right.
some mistakes are made, and the leader of the opposition point them out, now we are going to hear the rebuttal. So mind you, we are going to hear the rebuttal. Hopefully, you're going to hear from the leader of government business, or we're going to hear it again from Prime Minister Dick himself, in terms of if there has to be some level of correction. But if the leader of the opposition point that out, I think it is important that we humbly look at it and say, let's weigh that and let us see where he might be right and try to correct that.
Because as you said, this is the management of a country. This is your future, my kids' future. We don't have a lot of leeway for rookie mistakes, right? I mean, this is hardcore stuff.
Yeah, well, those simple mistakes wouldn't kill anybody. That's one, it's not like you have to plant a bomb and then he's supposed to go up 11 and he go up 10:30, so people out there 10:30 get killed.
Right.
But the point I'm making that we need to ensure that we get this thing right. And
yes,
so,
because the allegations are that what the Prime Minister came out and speak about was a different content than what is actually in the document itself.
Right.
So as you said, that the documents probably was written in South and then budget was prepared in the East. So it's important that we get those and look at it. And I think some of the very open air journalists are, they're saying, yeah, we want to see the documents as well. We want to contrast it and see how, if it's true, why was that mistake made, or why did that error occur?
Yeah,
you see. So it's interesting. Okay, guys, you're watching on screen right now Andy Williams, who is at the podium, and we're speaking about your reaction to the budget debate. It's ongoing. Again, we do have a parallel broadcast. The budget debate is going on right now on the Ride Along platform, as in many other platforms. We're doing a shared broadcast, so a lot of people are watching that at the moment. But we're having a conversation here, and we're giving you guys an opportunity to put your voice on record on what your thoughts are on the budget thus far. So give us a call, 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. The phone lines are open. We want to hear from you right now. Give us a call again, 718-701-5720. One of the other takeaways, and I didn't feel good about it, right? I think when you're in politics, if something occurred, like say for instance, the opposition leader went to the UAE and received $15 million or whatever the case is, right? And he spoke about it as well. The money that came in is not NDC money, it's not NNP money. It's money for the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. So when the opposition leader said that, NDC get the money, I mean, and nobody in NDC take that money and put it in their pocket. You were working on the behalf of the people of Grenada. You were getting paid to facilitate whatever it was. The money came back, and the money is rightfully going back into the pockets and into the businesses of the country. And I feel uneasy when politicians personalize these things and they make it seem as, it's them, it's about them. It shouldn't be about them, it's about the people at the end of the day. They are the major beneficiaries of what's happened. That was very distasteful to me, I find.
Right.
See? Yeah. And one of the other things, I don't know if you get to see, did you see Delma? Did you see Delma's presentation?
I saw Delma, and I saw joy, I saw pain, I saw morality, I saw value. I mean, there were some mixed things. One of those things that I thought about Delma. Remember, the leader of the opposition spoke first. and after the budget was presented,
Yeah.
and he said that he cannot, in all conscience, support the tax on sugar.
Yes. Delma
But
contradicted that.
in Honorable Delma presentation, she supported the tax on sugar. My brother, that is a first in a long time. That did not happen. So let me, for some people that was not, I was a member of the Senate one time, and when NDC, I abstained from voting on the Grand Leg deal. That was in maybe 95. Now, so Delma, Honorable Delma Thomas, actually supported and with good justification. But apart from that, what I heard from her was a genuine hurt and pain from when the system, and an apology in a sense, when the system failed her.
Right.
She talked about a personal item issue. Somebody that had sickle cell, and the person was there, and the person died, and she was actually associated with the hospital. But in a subtle way, I'm also hearing Honorable Member for St. Andrew Northwest, Delma Thomas, crying out, in a sense, reaching out to NDC to do something.
Yeah.
To do something. I don't know. She didn't say it in that way, and I don't want to misconstrue. In no way I'm saying that to say that she wants to be an NDC. I don't believe that is her call. But I also believe that she knew she was in a system that was not big on delivering the goods for the Grenadian people. And she is hopeful that Grenada, she is hopeful that the NDC would do more than what was done. Folks, I'm not saying that Delma in any way is sympathetic or whatsoever towards NDC, but I believe she is hopeful that in this new government, something more is being done than what she was accustomed to. And that is where I heard the pain, and I heard a level of joy that there's a possibility that more can be done.
Yeah. Here is what I heard. I felt, and again, that's just my observation, right? You know, if you are in an environment and you feel like you felt as though you can't say nothing, like you just felt as though you kind of muzzled in a way, and then you find like the muzzle is off, and you feel like you actually can have an opinion.
Yes.
I felt her. I think that was a liberating moment for her. I saw her heart. I really did. I saw her heart today, and a lot of people did.
Yes.
You know, people were commenting. I saw the public relation officer and advisor to the prime minister, even Orlando Romaine, commented on what she saw in Delma today. And that's commendable.
I think all in all, there was always this thing around Honorable Delma Thomas as somebody that seemed to have a genuine heart. Then the people might ask the question, well, why she end up in NNP? I'm not here to answer that question, but what you hear from her, I seriously hear pain. I mean, when you are in a position and the system failed you, you were part of that system. You were part of the health department, and somebody was in almost in your charge, and your underling were unable to secure help for that person within 3 days. And the former minister admitted having to cry. I mean, so I know that is painful. And sometimes, for one reason why she stayed, I don't know. It could be for several different reasons. Why she was with them, I'm not so sure. Maybe at one time she believed in them, and sometimes it just reached to a point where you're wishing for something to get you out, like what happened in this last election. Maybe she feels some form of liberation, or maybe she talked to her colleagues and it was like on breaking sick in the airs. So she feels a sense, and she's always expressing that. And I believe that is what probably give her the strength to say she's supporting the tax on sugar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Interesting stuff, guys. We're still having this discussion. I see a lot of you guys talking in the chat, and we want that. But we also want you guys to call in as well to put your voice. And you know what a lot of people are doing? They are watching us and watching the debate at the same and watching the prediction. We have that. They watching they cast one eye saw and one eye saw.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. There's a lot happening, a lot going on right now, guys. On the podium right now, we have Honorable Andy Williams. He's speaking right now, and I've heard that Andy may have a huge set of things, a lot of things to say about the former Prime Minister's comment, because we saw earlier. We didn't see close view, but you could have seen and heard agitation. Yeah, well, no, the faces you could have even felt the agitation when the former Prime Minister was referring to them as children. Right before what's his name, Tevin stood up in a call of order that wasn't really a call of order, and stated that we're not little children, we are elected officials. So I would be interested to know what Andy is saying right now, but I'll watch it back afterwards. But that's what's happening right now, guys. They're having a parallel broadcast. All in all, do you see a positive after all of this? So much people paying attention, so much people engaged, or do you think that it's gonna remain the same? Do you think that it will get a way that we could actually kind of come together again?
The politics had been very polarized, but it's up to the NDC, because it's always up to the victor, the winners, to make the move and to reach out to those other persons, to set the tone for people to come on board and work for the greater good. I believe that NDC as a political organization, and particularly this new breed of persons in the NDC, is less polarized, less divisive than what was existing before. So, boy, I don't know how we could build if we remain polarized. We can build Grenada by going with some of Grenadians and leaving the rest behind. I think when the pension was paid, and somebody said to me, the pension was paid, and a lady that was a very hardcore member of the NNP, when she received a pension, she broke down and cried.
Wow.
Because that was so, she said, you see, that is, I voted against my own self. I voted, and look, other persons voted for me, and now I have my pension. And she get a substantial sum. So I think those kind of gestures and what have been taking place before, if we continue in that way, the pension was paid, all nurses, irrespective of the political affiliation, the teachers, these are gestures to say to the workers and to persons outside that we care, we really want to work with you. If the program says reach all day and ensure that people are empowered irrespective of what political lineage you have. The creative industry, reach out, it doesn't matter where you are, they don't have to ask you. You don't have to go to a political office to apply.
True.
Once you don't have to go to a political office to apply, then we are really bridging the gap. Because prior to Junior, everything we wanted in Grenada, we had to go to a political office or a politician physically to get it, and that was sickening by itself,
Yeah. I'll take a little audio air on what Andy is saying. Let's just check out some of
yes.
Andy.
Yeah. We are even hearing
Hold on, let me
that the material used on the roof is
put
just
it to the system.
but not the best material in order to catch water to drink. This was what we were faced with. So what our ministry did, we worked together with education, infrastructure, Mr. Speaker, and we came together and reviewed the other schools with the other designs to ensure that the same mistake was not made. Let's proceed. Mr. Speaker, I now turn to the SDA Comprehensive Secondary School.
That project again was supposed to be completed July 20th, 2021. We are now in 2022 and it's not completed yet. Mr. Speaker, I am proud to say that we are aiming to get the school ready by January 2023.
Okay, so you're watching a live broadcast here of the budget debate. We were having a conversation, and again, we understand that we are involved in a parallel broadcast on the same network, and they're watching. People are not really sure exactly where to take it in, so we're having this discussion right here, and there's so much happening. There's so much happening. So much to talk about. There's information everywhere. But we're still giving you guys an opportunity. If you want to call in and talk, you could do that. 718-701-5720. That's 718-701-5720. Livingston, after all of this is said and done, what's the after today and tomorrow is said and done, what's the next process?
I think what would really help to decrease what I would call or to depolarize the politics would be to rapidly engage in the implementations of projects that have been on stream.
Right.
As much as persons would like, me and you, we would sit down and we'd argue against each other. So I would support like party red, you would support party blue, and we would argue. But if there is work to be done, then there is less argument. So I think the more implement of the projects get to be implemented, if that is pursued aggressively and people see things happening, then there would be less argument, but more work, more hands on board, and again, probably more conversion for that level of polarization to decrease. So I believe that would be the step. Those steps taken, the more project, the more programs, the more you're outreach in the community, and you see people, this would definitely help, I think, in bringing back Grenada to a semblance of, what we probably knew or have a feeling how it should be anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Because you said it there straight up, we cannot go forward. We cannot move forward with strength with half of Grenada. We need all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, I really try to bring on, group from the NNP to come and speak on the platform, and they will decline. But I'm reaching out. I'm still having a very open mind that probably they just didn't receive my call. Right. We want to have this discussion where we could talk about development for Grenada, because today, tomorrow, and even for the Christmas season, when companies like us or whoever do, we have we're giving away $2,000 grant, not grant, but grocery support for folks, right? $250 each we're giving people. We're not asking anyone if they're NN or NDC. That just doesn't matter. The fact that if you're a Grenadian, you get funds. So I think that we need to have more conversation where we're talking about coming together and leave politics. Just
doing things, having conversation in finding ways how we can do things. How can what can we do with our bananas? A whole set of conversation. Why should we grow more bananas? What can we do? What is the best way to develop the agricultural industry? What can we do to increase the sale of chocolate or water or the peppers or seasoning peppers? Or what can we do? How can we do with seasoning? Those kind of discussions taking place through your medium and other mediums, I think, is what would help in bridging the gap. And going forward. But something that was really that stood out today, and I couldn't help. Somebody said we were falling for that we were falling for Kit lies. I don't think so. When we were saying that he made some important points which should be investigated, but I also believe he's really good in opposition. He was consistent with his attack.
Right.
He was consistent with his attack. He wanted to paint an image of the NDC that was consistent. I don't want to repeat that. That is his role to play. So I don't want to repeat that, but he was very consistent. But I find something quite disturbing. And I read a little bit more into it than most people. That is the behavior of, the past senator or Dr. Garaway on Monday night. I thought, yeah, I thought that speaks volume. Now, while people may see it is just rude, the party, I believe that NNP as a political party, to me, shows real poor quality in that they were, okay, Junior, let me put it in a political organization must have a political ideology, a way of governance. So if a budget is done by the Republican, say we go to America, Republican, the Democrat in 20 minutes should be able to say, you Republican, you want to you want to tax here, you have too much of taxes here, you're doing too much of things here, but the Democrat will do it this way, we will do it that way. There must be some differences in the ideological shock. Some people may say it is petty, but they actually have to have some, some ideological differences. So I'm saying that to say that immediately the party should have you hear me?
Yeah, your audio kind of cracking up a bit. Yeah. Again, guys, we're here live with Livingston Nelson, and we're talking about what's happening right now as we speak, the budget debate right there in Grenada, where today we had the actual debate. We had a presentation by the Prime Minister on Monday. And now earlier this morning at 9 a.m., we had the opposition leader, former Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Mitchell, and now opposition leader, making his lengthy presentation where he basically dismissed a large portion of, well, not dismiss is not the right word, where he rebutted a large portion of the presentation by the Prime Minister. Right before that, he started about the legacy of the NNP, and the 3.5 hour or so long presentation, he ended on a note where he was quoting portions of the Bible. But nevertheless, people had their nays and yeas about his presentation. But that's what we heard today from the former Prime Minister. Livingston, are you back?
Yeah, you hear me now?
Yeah, it sounds a little bit better.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds better.
Yeah, actually my charger, I thought it was on connected, but it was not. So it was basically almost out of battery. Yes, so I was saying, yeah, you wanted me to continue on that trend?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying that, well, what I found about Garaway is that as an individual, you went there. I think that probably was discussed on your program already before. I don't know. I thought that was extremely disgusting. But what it shows that his political organization lacks what I call a political or governing ideology. Right. So as a senior, junior, you cannot send somebody in a conference to represent your company that does not know or have no idea of what your company stands for. So if you send somebody that is involved in your company, they should know, Junior, would you be able to sell mangoes or advertise mangoes on your platform? The person don't have to consult you on everything. They should say, no, we don't do that at Ride Along. You understand? True. Right. Yeah. So you send a senior person to represent you on a program like that, and the person goes there and are unable to represent that organization because they didn't have time to study the document. I can tell you, I have been an avid listener. I listen to the budget as many times as possible once I get the time. And anytime I hear a presentation of the budget in the previous years, immediately I am ready to have my opinion expressed, because the views, the priorities of
Right.
the budget did not suit my individual governing ideology.
I got you.
So
Yes.
I always was against selling out places like Cameroon Park. I was always against investors deciding where we would go. I always felt that agriculture should be given some more credence in the budget before. So once you have other things and you're focusing on what other people would do for us, I already had a platform to criticize you. 1 minute as you finish and you put down your paper, I am ready to tell you because that
Right.
is my governing ideology.
Right. I understand.
And where was NNP governing ideology? It just tell me that they were just laissez-faire. They operate as how things happen. So
Mhm.
while the leader of the opposition is very consistent about what he wants to say about the members of the National Democratic Congress, he has no consistency in terms of his method of governance or how he would govern the country.
Well, the truth of the fact about it, and you mentioned it when we spoke about Delma Thomas, Honorable Delma Thomas, because Delma Thomas, she spoke against, in not against, but she spoke in agreement with somewhat agreement with the tax on the sugar, whereas the opposition leader spoke against it.
Yeah.
So then you have two difference of opinion. There are people, I'm sure, that liked a certain aspect of what the prime minister said in the opposition, but would they go on a platform and say, yeah, man, I like what you say about this, I like what you say about that? The ideology in governance and in opposition, a lot of times, is like, our job is just to oppose for opposition's sake.
Well, I also believe that Delma is having a rude awakening. Eh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think she know that in some quarters she would be probably vilified
I
because she
see.
went against a political leader. So I mean, for somebody like me who is observing the politics,
Right.
she would have to deal with that repercussion. And I hope she is mentally, psychologically prepared to deal with the repercussion. Because the leader of the opposition would see it as an embarrassment.
Right, speaking against him. Now, Naomi is correcting me and said that I said the prime minister. Okay, sorry, Naomi, I misspoke. It's the former prime minister. Appreciate the correction. Appreciate the correction. All right, yeah, and you're so right. You're so right, because now I'm not going to tell you who told me that, because they told me that in confidence. So scratch that off. But I get what you're saying. I definitely get what you're saying. Guys, listen, we're gonna close right here. Any last word, last thoughts, Nelson?
Well, I think we have covered some good grounds. The budget is a very interesting one. I actually listened to also Mr. Andrew Toes. I didn't hear Ron because you had me on the program here, so I had to chide you for that. I thought his presentation was quite animated and well presented also. He was able to capture people's attention,
Yes.
So I thought that was good. And he did an excellent way of educating people in explaining, debunking the idea, the myth by the leader of the opposition in talking about the people that should be, how NDC hired all those big wigs. And he said, well, I thought that was such a classic way for Mr. Lennox, member for St. Andrews Southwest, Lennox Andrew, to explain and to bring into perspective clearly, so clearly, his rationale or the rationale for hiring persons that are not in the critical areas that makes things happen. So I want to commend adult, you would be hearing that, Honorable Lennox Andrew. And again, I would go and listen to the others, Andy, in the meantime. But thank you again for having me, and good night to all the listeners. It would have been nice for somebody to challenge me.
Yeah. Well, they I guess they're scared of you. Don't worry about it. We'll have a challenge. We'll have a conversation. but you know, it's always hard to challenge Livingston Kumar Nelson. It's always difficult. And Nelson, remember we talking about March, eh?
Hey,
Ghana.
man, as I said to you, my lawyer has the case on, so you better know what you're doing from here on, because I'm ready to go.
We go talk. We go talk. All right.
Yeah, brother. So
Thank you
good
very
night.
much. We'll keep in touch.
Yes. Okay, cool.
All right, cool. Yeah. Yeah. That's my brother there, Livingston Nelson. Always great perspective on all things politics and history. Brother Livingston Nelson. All right, guys, listen. So we understand, as I said earlier, that with this parallel broadcast, a lot of people are watching the debate right now. We have Honorable Andy Williams, who is speaking right now. Let's see. Let me see if I could pull in some of Andy's audio. Let me see if I could pull in some of his audio. Where is it? Where is it? Why, there it is. Okay, let's check on some audio.
MIT was able to remove bottlenecks to facilitate the completion of works on the Fort George project. Mr. Speaker, MIT has been working closely with the Ministry of Education to address major challenges under the Grenada Education Enhancement Project. Mr. Speaker, MIT also took the lead in engaging all stakeholders to review the designs for all other major infrastructure works to be executed under the said project to ensure that projects are climate smart and done in a transformative manner. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, MIT is assisting the Ministry of Economic Development with 7 technical assistance projects under the EDF. Mr. Speaker, Cabinet recently appointed the MIT to lead the coordination of the technical assistance via the Canada CARICOM Export Deployment Mechanism. MIT has since been able to mobilize over 8 strategic interventions in various areas to advance the government's transformative agenda. Mr. Speaker, MIT has initiated a cleanup campaign to complement the national transformation agenda with specific focus on towns and commercial areas. Mr. Speaker, today, while we were in Cabinet, members from my team were out at the Lagoon Road, Mr. Speaker, engaged in the cleanup. I identified the relics, Mr. Speaker, and give us up to the ending of this month the Lagoon and new Lagoon Road. The member of North East is telling me where's Plainfield. Right. Mr. Speaker, the ministry has collaborated with stakeholders to identify areas for urgent cleanup action. Wall Street, Kiwani James Boulevard, Port Highway have been identified as areas in critical need of attention, especially environmental health and safety regulations, proper waste disposal measures, traffic laws, and structural safety regulations. Mr. Speaker, the National Community Mobilization, Empowerment, and Transformation Project will represent my ministry's flagship project. The intervention will seek to rebrand.
All right, guys. So
the
what we're
whole
going
of
to do,
Grenada
we are
in a
going to
systematic manner
package
over time.
all of the
Mr. Speaker,
presentations
this will involve
that
a
was
partnership
made and posted up
and the
on
cultivation
our
of a
platform.
new
You guys
culture
can check it out
which
in their
features
own words.
heightened
Thanks for watching. Thanks for
patriotism,
being a part of our program today. We
physical
appreciate you on
asset
behalf of all the production
transformation,
team here at Ride
and the
Along
leveraging
Live. Our senior
of
executive
ICT
producer,
in the
Lois
modernization
JJ. Not
of
feeling
lives
too well,
of the
but you'll
citizens
be all right.
of the residents of our triangle
And
state.
our moderators, we
Mr.
have
Speaker,
Dale,
the branding over time
Kim,
will touch all
and
parishes,
Deanne Fraser.
towns,
We say
and
good night.
villages.
Thank you for
It will
watching.
be a
Thank you for
holistic
sharing your
engagement
time with us.
and
We
development
appreciate you.
across the entire Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
Carpentry and Cleaning Service Inc., providing exceptional carpet and cleaning, floor installation, refinishing, home renovations, drywall, painting, plastering, doors and moldings, electrical and plumbing, and much more. We are a one-stop shop for all your professional needs. Give us a call today on 718-221-5572. That is 718-221-5572. Or you can call our cell on 917-939-3192. Check out our sales on all services. We're located at 218 Schenectady Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Phillips Carpentry and Cleaning Service Inc.
In the Mar-a-Lago investigation, what do you make of this Trump legal argument that we just heard about?
You know, thank you, Wolf. Thank you, Wolf. It's always a pleasure being here on CNN. But you know, as I was talking to Don Lemon just a few weeks ago, I don't understand why every time I'm here is to discuss Trump. Listen, I am from the Caribbean. I'm from Grenada. And there is enough political back and forth for me to study Trump. Nah, it's not on my radar. It's just not something that I think about. In fact, the information that I received was that I was here to talk about my bingo. Yeah, my bingo that's happening on the 23rd of December. $6,000, Wolf. We are giving away $6,000. Jackpot is $4,000. Tickets is only $20. Only $20, and you can get your tickets online at ridebuy.com. Yeah, that's ridebuy.com. Anybody everywhere in the world could play this. Just go on to ridebuy.com. Now, one ticket is $20 and 5 tickets is $80. Now, that's much more interesting to me than talking about Trump. In fact, I cannot participate further in this conversation. I just wasn't really prepared.
George, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi guys, once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of our program today. I appreciate you. We do urge everyone to go out and support our Ride Along Bingo. Yeah, support our Ride Along Bingo. You can get your tickets tonight at ridebuy.com. Log on to ridebuy.com. Get your tickets tonight for Ride Along Bingo, $6,000 money bingo. Catch you guys tomorrow. Good night.